So lately I've been having a lot of people contact me about low potassium hay for their HYPP impressive lined quarter horses. So impressive was is an AQHA line that was really known for this muscle disorder that was related to normal potassium levels in forage. And particularly forages like alfalfa have a lot of potassium in them as compared to grass hay does. And I thought a lot of these impressive horses were already kind of bred out of the system. But yesterday I sold orchard grass to a lady, and she needed orchard grass, no alfalfa, because she had an HYPP horse. Today I had a lady from the other side of the state contact me. She wanted Timothy hay because I'm advertising on Facebook that I have some really nice Timothy brown bales. And so now lately this winter, a couple times I've had people from the other side of the state ask me to, come all the way over here to get Timothy. And this lady today said that Timothy actually has less potassium than orchard grass. And I said, is that really supported by like tissue tests? And she said, yeah, it is. And I said, well, I just had sold orchard grass to an HYPP positive horse yesterday, and the lady said that would be adequate. This lady today had mentioned that they had Timothy, that it's more important if you have a horse that's symptomatic. So, and as you know, that potassium is really important for electrical conductivity in the nervous system. And it does something with those neural synapses, the junctions where nerves meet, that causes muscle spasms in these horses. And it's called HYPP. It has a long term associated with it. That's just a short abbreviation acronym for it. And this lady moved all the way from Los Angeles and said, it's really hard to find pure Timothy here in Michigan. And I said, well, our cool season grasses here are orchard grass, brome, and Timothy. We usually don't have pure stands of Timothy in Michigan, not year after year. Usually Timothy comes up later in the spring, and if you have a cold spring with a lot of frost or a wet, damp spring, it's not as conducive for orchard grass production as it is Timothy. And the Timothy will come up and crowd out that orchard grass, and every few years in a lot of grass fields, and all you'll see is Timothy seed heads for that season. Whereas I think out west, and they grow like an orchard grass field or a Timothy field, it's probably a pure stand, I'm guessing. I guess Ed would know about that. But here in Michigan, we usually have a mixed amount of grasses. And the reason why, unless you're in the northern part of the state, where it's colder climate, you'll see a lot more pure Timothy hay come from the northern part of the state. But here, orchard grass also grows, you get a second, third cutting of orchard grass, where Timothy, so yeah, Timothy and brome, they just don't yield for that second cutting like orchard grass does. The big complaint you always have with orchard grass is its maturity. It matures really fast, and a lot of times it's done flowering when our alfalfa is getting into that first bloom, and we're getting where it's getting dry enough here and low enough humidity around the 1st of June to start our first cutting, which means when we're getting halfway through our first cutting towards the middle to the end of June, that orchard grass is starting, that seed head stalk starting to turn brown at that point. So, and it decreases the looks, the quality of the hay. Where, I'll give you Timothy and brome stay green. They hold their quality really well, but they just don't yield good. I always said I wish I had 1,000 acres of brome grass. Brome grass stays green all year. You could be baling first cutting brome grass with the snowflakes flying in November and it's still green. But that's, what we deal with here is orchard grass really is king as far as the grasses. We don't really have much for warm season grasses that we bale. I mean, there's some of those warm season native prairie grasses that you can plant, but they're just really good for a wildlife food plot or wildlife cover, but they're very coarse. Their preference for palatability is a lot less than, you know, your cool season grasses that we grow here. So, all right, well, how's everybody else handling our cold snap? I think it's pretty much nationwide now. I was talking to my mom down in Florida, Central Florida. It's been in the 20s at night down to her. So we'll see y'all later.